Trump boasted minimal unemployment in 50 years and reassured stock exchanges. The economy is booming. Prior to the release of labor market data for September, US exchanges showed the worst quarter start since 2008. Analyzing the released macroeconomic statistics, experts seriously started talking about the time to prepare for a new global financial crisis. The market was waiting for the start of sales, wondering how much this time oil will become cheaper and the stock indices will collapse. However, US President Donald Trump again intervened in the situation, returning the positive to the exchanges. It is known that the American leader set himself the task of at all costs to extend the growth of the US financial market at least until the next presidential election. The owner of the White House is convinced that without this he will not be able to re-elect for a new term. Now, this goal should become even more relevant for him, given that good performance in the US economy will add trump cards to the president in the fight against Democrats threatening him with impeachment. At the beginning of the outgoing week, the financial world almost played a cruel joke with the head of the American state. Upon learning of a possible impeachment of Trump, investors began to sell off assets. Oil and other commodities became cheaper. The first days of October for the American exchanges became the worst beginning of the quarter since the crisis of 2008. Serious sales were also seen in the equity markets of Europe and developing countries. There were other reasons for such a fall, which should not be discussed in detail again. They are all the same: the hopeless trade confrontation between the United States and China, Brexit, the ongoing protests in Hong Kong and the growing risks of a slowdown in global economic growth, as evidenced by weak macroeconomic data. However, this time for several days, stock indices lost 3% each, and experts started talking about the end of the cycle that began after 2008. The attention of bidders on the last trading day was focused on data on the labor market in the United States, the release of which was expected on Friday. If unemployment remains in September at the level of August, 3.7%, this will mean that things are going well in the US economy, experts interviewed by Reuters explained. However, the statistics published by the US Department of Labor were not only better than analysts' expectations, but also minimal for half a century. According to the department, unemployment in the country last month decreased to 3.5%, and the number of jobs in non-agricultural sectors of the economy increased by 136,000. The ministry also said that hourly wages during this period increased by 2.9% year-on-year to $28.09. The market immediately responded with growth to such positive macro statistics, and Donald Trump devoted several publications to this event on social networks. The economy is booming, wrote the US president in a commentary on one of them. It was the creation of as many jobs as possible for the Americans that was one of Trump's campaign promises. Perhaps now it will become more difficult for Democrats to convince compatriots of the need for his resignation. Well, the financial market took this news as an occasion to lower expectations of a global economic downturn. Brent crude on the basis of trading Friday jumped in price by 1.37% to $58.5 per barrel. West Texas WTI crude oil rose to almost $53 a barrel, adding more than 8%. Against this background, the depreciation of the Russian ruble stopped. On Friday, following the results of trading on the world currency market, wooden strengthened to 64.63 rubles per dollar, the single euro fell to 70.95 rubles. Gold quotes fell 0.23% to $1 an ounce. Prior to this, the precious metal rose in price during several sessions, as investors who were afraid of the risks of a slowdown in global economic growth went into a defensive asset. The Mosbersky index sank 0.55% by the close of trading, to 2,692.55 points. The ARTS index climbed 0.36% to 1,311.65 points. Prior to this, the Mosbersky index was declining for 2 consecutive sessions, the ARTS for 5. The American Industrial Dow Jones Index closed at 1.42% growth, rising to 26,573.72 points. The high-tech companies index Nasdaq rose 1.4% to 7,982.47 points. The S.